Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll, Secretary of Energy, Environment, Rebecca Tepper is also here. I want to thank Roy Goodman, my Elder Affairs Director, for his efforts, Helen Carlton-Harris, my Echo Dev team here, my Chief Development Officer, Tim Sheehan, Deputy Tina Quagliano-Sullivan, and Kathy Bono, my CAFO, on what we do for energy aggregation here. And also our great delegation. This is the home, the 11th Hampden District, and our state rep and our friend is Bud Williams, who's going to be bringing some greetings. But we're also joined by a leader, State Representative Celso Economics Carlos Gonzalez, State Representative Attorney Angelo Pupolo, direct from Soccer City, State Senator Jake Oliveira, Ludlow, State Representative Brian Ash, and of course my former Chief of Staff for a decade, Denise Jordan, and this is named after her dad, legendary Ray Jordan. And our former Congressman, Joe Kennedy. So, with that, before I bring up Buddy, Governor Healey, Maura has been fighting for us for consumer rights and affairs since she was an Attorney General. She has continued that fight to stand up for people and the businesses, and she has some energy initiatives to help out all our people, no matter what creed, color, and background, especially our seniors. And Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll, once a mayor, always a mayor. We know, mayors know you got to get things done yesterday. And she was 16 years at Salem mayor, and she gets it great nuts and bolts. And they work hard for us. And they've been very, very good friends to me, the city of Springfield, and Western Massachusetts. And again, they will continue to fight for each and every one of you as we continue to work on common sense and pragmatic leadership to get things done and to tone down the noise. Get things done and work together. With that, let me have State Representative Bud Williams bring brief greetings, and then I'm going to bring up Governor Healey and her team to tell you what they're going to do. And I know it should take some questions, too. Our State Representative for 11th Hampden District, Bud Williams.
I will be brief. To the people's mayor, I'm going to invoke two names. I'm up here and I'm really trembling. One was called the Lion and one was called the Barracuda. The Lion was Ted Kennedy. You can clap to that. And the Barracuda was Ray Jordan. I always invoke those names because those are shoulders who I have stood on along with Ben Swan for many, many, many years. I want to thank our governor for taking time out of her very, very busy schedule. Isn't she doing a hell of a job fighting Trump? Is she doing a hell of a job fighting Trump? She was a point guard, and she acted like a point guard. These are some very difficult days, and it could get worse before it gets better. We got problems, but we're going to fight. Massachusetts always will stand up and fight for the people of the Commonwealth of this nation. We're first in nation education, health care, crime, anything you name. And we're the first in fighting for the people. We had a DEI hearing on Monday, well attended. People are really nervous and frightened as we don't know what to do. But with the leadership of Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, we're in good hands. Good hands are good hands. Good hands. Good hands. I know that she spends a lot of time out here in Western Mass because she wants to really understand the 413, which is our zip code. They always push, that's right, 413. That's our zip code. So Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, we want to thank you. And to the folks of the 11th Hamden District, thank you for being the warrior that you always have been, for pushing and pushing and fighting and fighting and fighting. When we fight, we what? We win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Let's fight.
Thank you, buddy. Well, that concludes the press conference. Buddy took all the governor's time. And I also think we're joined by my Chief Diversity Inclusion Officer, Judy Crowell, here. Thank you very much. Okay, so now put your hands together for our governor, our fighter, our friend, Governor Maura Healey, Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. It is so great to be in Springfield. Yes, in the 413. The LG and I are really familiar with the 413. We love the 413 and the opportunity to come out and talk to all of you about what we're doing. I want to thank Mayor Sarno for his leadership, for your partnership. Relationships between places like Springfield and the State House is so important, as we need to work together like never before, because we're not getting much help from the federal government. So I want you to know how committed Kim and I are to working together with all of you and working together with members of the legislature too. I want to say to Bud, thank you so much for your leadership. We love working with you too on the Black and Latino Caucus. But to all of you, thank you for the good work we've been able to do. I know that everybody up here, their eye is focused on helping people. Their eye is focused on what do we do to make life better for people? How do we make it more affordable? How do we lower costs, right? We're going to talk about that today, but we also are focused on lowering costs for housing, building more homes, lowering healthcare costs. The other day, I made it sure that everybody who wants a COVID shot gets one, right? And today we're going to talk about energy, but I just want to thank our colleagues from the legislature, Representative Bud Williams, Representative Brian Ash, Representative Angelo Pupolo, Representative Carlos Gonzalez, and Senator Jake Oliveira for their continued partnership with all of us. We are lucky to have this team, in the State House. I also want to introduce, as noted, our Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs. We were just out at the Big E eating all sorts of food together. This is Rebecca Tepper, and she's got a great team, including Catherine Antos, our Undersecretary for Energy and Environmental Affairs, and Director Melissa Lavinson of our Office of Energy Transformation. These women are working really hard to figure out what I'm going to talk about, which is how to take money off your bills, okay, and reduce costs. So I'm talking, but they're the ones who get the credit for what I'm talking about. I also want to thank as well, and you're going to hear from him in a little bit, but our former congressman and current president of Citizens Energy, Joe Kennedy. So I am thrilled to be here at the Ray Jordan Center. I loved Ray Jordan. I love the Jordan family. Denise, it's wonderful to see you. And I can't think of a better place to talk about this issue. I'm also thinking that, you know, I'm getting older by the minute. This is a pretty nice place to hang out. I may have to relocate someday. Yes, all right, from the 617 to the 413. Will you take me in? All right. So let's talk about this. We were just out at the Big E. Great celebration, proud tradition here in Massachusetts, not just Western Mass, in all of Massachusetts and New England. And it was hot. It was pretty hot. But you know what? It's not going to be hot pretty soon. We know cold weather is coming, and that's why we want to get out and get after it to do everything we can to lower your heating and electricity bills, okay? So this past year, I'll tell you what we did. We launched a whole energy affordability agenda, making energy less expensive. We sent out rebates to some of you. We cut gas costs and electricity bills. And in total, we saved people across Massachusetts about $6 billion. So it was a good start. Good start. We're rolling out something new. Anybody who's had a heat pump put in, they're a faster, more efficient way to heat your home. Anybody with a heat pump in, you're going to get a discount rate on that starting November 1st. But we also need to do more, and that's why I filed a major piece of legislation. I'm working with all these gentlemen here to get it done to further lower our costs by $13 billion. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to get unnecessary extra charges off of your bills for different programs, right? Let's just take those off the bills. Then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to bring more energy into Massachusetts. More energy, more supply will also reduce our costs. There's a whole bunch of things that we're doing. I just want you to know that we are laser focused on this issue. And every day we're thinking about and working on ways to lower costs for people here and across the state. Today I want to talk about another part of that, and that is a partnership with Citizens Energy. So Citizens Energy, you know them. Some of you know Citizens Energy. They've been doing great work for decades. They deliver profits. So they take the money that comes from oil and gas and some solar projects, and they take that money and they find a way to give it right back out to people, to households. It's pretty amazing and innovative. We want to do that now with the transmission and distribution of electricity. So when we see things like charges for poles, wires, substations, all these delivery charges on your bills, they're just getting bigger. We want to work to make those smaller. And through this effort and this legislation, we're going to make it so that citizens and organizations like Citizens can make investments in these projects to bring them online more quickly, and then share the profits back and the savings with all of you who pay the bills. That's what we're doing. And we got to act quickly because we've got a president that's putting tariffs on everything, which are taxes, by the way, shutting down energy supply into our region, or trying to. So we've got our work cut out for us. And I'm not even going to get into the devastating cuts that we're seeing on food and health care, but I want you to know that we have your back. That is why we are in these jobs. That is why we do these jobs. We are privileged to be serving in this moment, focused on you, focused on the people. How do we meet your needs? How do we help you out? And I got to say with great pride that my money is on Massachusetts, because we know how to work together. And yes, as a point guard, it's all about getting people to work together. And that's what we do in this state. And as a point guard, the greatest statistic, what is it, ladies? Assist. She was saying that. Yeah. Greatest statistic is the assist. It's not points scored, it's the assist. And that brings me to Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy has been fighting for us in Massachusetts. He's been fighting for Americans for years, both in Congress and outside of Congress. He's spending a lot of time, particularly visiting states down south, to make sure that people are listened to and feel heard, fighting for people on the things that they desperately need and care about, like housing and health care, and so much more. So it's really wonderful that we get to stand alongside Joe today and to find a way to partner with the tremendous work he's doing through Citizens United that's going to benefit people in Massachusetts. Our friend, Joe Kennedy.
Oh, hey, how about that? Thank you. Governor, thank you, my goodness, for those incredibly kind and gracious words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute honor and pleasure for me to be back here in Springfield. Thank you for the warm welcome. And what an honor and privilege it is to be here with Governor Healey, the Lieutenant Governor, key members of our administration, and members of the legislature that have had the vision, the forethought, the dedication, and the determination to do something, and do something that's never been done before in this country, and trying to find ways to squeeze out savings through transmission and distribution. So a huge round of applause for you all here and your team that you put together to, again, do something that no one else has ever thought to do. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for welcoming us in the city. It's a pleasure for me to be back, and members of the delegation, thank you again for all of your support. As I was walking in, more than a few of you said, hey, tell the Joe for Oil guy I say hi. So that's my dad. I'll tell him you say hi. He started this nonprofit, Citizens Energy, back 45 years ago, whose mission was to help low-income families meet basic needs. And over those 45 years, he has been able to deliver over $600 million in benefits back to low-income families across the entire country. We did it, thank you. We did it through a variety of different programs over that time, but in the past 15 years or so, Citizens has transitioned to try to meet not just the affordability needs that families and households have, but to try to adapt to and get in front of a climate crisis. So now it's a diversified renewable energy company. We're the largest provider of low-income community solar in Massachusetts. Some of you here might be some of our beneficiaries. We are the largest, we do battery storage programs, solar programs, microgrids, and we have a transmission model that no one else in the country has. And we've been really privileged to be able to work with the governor and her administration to try to find ways to turn that to benefit the ratepayers here in Massachusetts. So my dad, about 15 years ago, found this way to help partner with big transmission developers, the folks that build the really big towers, help pay for those transmission projects, but then take at least half of our profits and turn them back over to local communities where that infrastructure is built. And depending on the size of the project, we can deliver tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars back into those communities over the lifetime of that investment. So we have 3 lines that are operable at the moment out in California. One funds the largest low-income community solar program in the entire nation. 12,000 low-income households are receiving $300 a year off their energy bills and will for the next 18 years, right? We have another project that helps fund human service organizations, places like a senior center like this out in California. We provide them electric vehicles and charging stations for free to help them be able to adapt to an electric vehicle transition. And we have that program for the next 26 years. And we have these over and over again across California. We're in the midst of a program there in review to help finance some infrastructure upgrades, some updates that will create nearly $500 million that will go back to help folks that are struggling with their energy bills and help pay those bills so that they don't have to worry about paying groceries or keeping their lights on. And when I talked to Governor Healey about some of this work, she said, well, let's do some of that here in Massachusetts. So we're all in on that, but then the secretary and her team took it one step further. Because all right is right. Because for those of you that know about energy, particularly renewable energy, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to have the wind blow, right? Or have the sun shine. So a big portion of the cost when you actually get your energy bill isn't the cost of generating the electricity, it's the cost of moving it from where that windmill is or those solar panels to your house. So the big towers there and the big power lines, that's a transmission system. Then it goes to a place called the substation, and it goes out to the distribution system, which are the power lines you see down the street. A big part of the cost in your bill is the cost of financing both of those systems. So what Governor Healey's team said was, hey, can we take the model that you've done successfully in California and transmission and do that here in Massachusetts in that distribution system? Which, by the way, estimates alone for the next 10 years are over $30 billion of investment into that system. So what we're saying is those investments need to be made to make sure that we get the energy we need and we can make the investments that we need to adapt to climate change. But part of those profits, if they're going in your backyard, they should stay in your backyard. So let's take some of those profits and give them right back to you. Governor Healey, the Lieutenant Governor, Secretary Tepper, and her team are the visionaries behind this. It hasn't been done anywhere else in the nation, but it will help leverage hundreds of dollars off people's electric bills if we are able to implement this at scale across the entire Commonwealth. So we are so thrilled and honored to be here, to be advocating and standing alongside Governor Healey and her administration on this visionary proposal, and can't wait to do what she's been doing the entire time, which is fighting for the people of Massachusetts and making sure that what people take for granted, that the lights are going to go on, to make sure that they stay on, to make sure that kids can do their homework, to make sure that businesses can grow. As somebody said to me once, energy might only be 3 or 4% of our economy, but it's the first 3 or 4%. Lights don't work. Nothing else does either. So let's make sure that that keeps working for all of us. Governor, I'm so honored to be here with you. Thank you so much for everything. Look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you so much, Joe. Any questions on topic?
Questions
All right.
on topic for the governor?
Okay. On topic. All right. Well, we'll be around to say hello and answer anything off topic as well. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to come see you.
Governor.